Fenway Jones. She is a sophomore in high school. She is a Copper bestseller on the Dungeons Masters Guild with her first adventure, and she's the founder of Jasper's Game Day. Hopefully you were able to take part in the first Jasper's Game Day here held at AAS last night and enjoyed yourselves. And she is an avid speaker in her community for suicide prevention. Welcome, Fenway. Thank you.
Thank you all. Hi, welcome to the Friday morning of this conference, and thank you for coming here to listen to me talk. Like she said, my name is Fenway Jones. I'm a 16-year-old sophomore at Fenton High School in Michigan, a published author on the Dungeons & Dragons modules, and a member of the AAS Youth Board, and the founder of Jasper's Game Day. Jasper's Game Day is a nonprofit organization that uses role-playing games and streaming to raise money for suicide prevention and awareness. I'm here today because of an experience that I had 2 years ago. I lost 2 friends to suicide in the course of 10 months. One of them was my gaming partner in crime, Jasper. I went to many conventions with him and gaming events all over the Midwest, and he was one of the first people that I played D&D with. And then I continued to play with him, my father, his uncle, and a family friend of his for every other week for about a year. And everyone in that group drove for about 45 minutes to be able to play with each other on those weeks. And they were all my first D&D family. And he was 16 when he died by suicide. He is also the namesake of my event. The second was one of my youth group friends. That is when it really hit me the most, that the people that look the happiest can be the ones that are struggling the most. And I saw all this devastation that it caused me, their friends, and their loved ones, and everyone around them. I began to think about how someone like me could use the devastation and pain to create something of happiness and hope. I saw the gap in the gaming industry for a suicide prevention charity, and I went with it. After both of the suicides, I was feeling broken and lost. My heart hurt for them and their families. It was hard to process that I would never see either of them ever again. I'm not really sure what to do, not really sure what to do with my pain. I felt like it was eating me up. The saying, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only option," has never been more relatable for me. With any kind of loss, you have 2 options. One, you let it ruin you, or one, you grow from it. I could have easily started to push people away and out of my life and throw myself a pity party. But instead, I chose to use those lessons and my losses as reasons to find the joys of life, and reasons to reevaluate the relationships that I had and my most important friendships. Maintain most important friendships. I chose to be optimistic in the hope that the best would come out of it. I decided, with the help of my mentors, Team Phoenix, that I needed a way to use this pain to create happiness and hope for other people and teens in this situation. We also, like I said, saw the lack of an important subject in the gaming industry. I wanted to cater to that lack. There is also a lot of stigma around talking about suicidal feelings and thoughts in this world, and I wanted to get rid of that stigma so that we can talk about it before anything happens and try and prevent it as much as possible. So I created Jasper's Game Day. The first Jasper's Game Day was at our main game store in Michigan. My dad and I organized it all with the help from our community, not expecting how well it would be revealed or received by everyone during the event. We thought it would be well enough accepted, but we had no idea that we would sell most of our tickets and surpass our wildest dreams of money raised. Our goal for the day had been $3,000. We ended up raising $8,000. We had unimaginable amounts of support, and so we decided to continue doing it the next year, aka this year. We wanted to be able to help as many people as possible, so we decided to partner with AAS and Wizards of the Coast who own Dungeons & Dragons. With those partnerships, we have a national reach for game stores and crisis centers alike. One thing that's extremely important to me and my organization is that the money stays local. So for example, we have a store located in California, and that is going to be participating in our May 11th main event. And all of the money that they raise there is going to go to a crisis center that is just 15 minutes away from them. When people know the money is staying local and they can see what is being done with it, they are much more avid to help and much more likely to participate in the event. And we like to cater to that and help with the local crisis centers and make sure people have things in their community. I may not have the degrees that a lot of my fellow speakers have, but I know the power of the polyhedral dice. Whether it's Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or any other D20-based game, they have a unique way of reaching out to people and allowing them to help each other. Because of Jasper's, I've had the amazing opportunity to travel around the US and meet all different types of people. It is insane to me that there can be a whole group of people who come from totally different backgrounds and totally different places and play at one table together. Ellen DeGeneres has said that I believe we can all come together, and because if you take away the labels, you realize that we are far more alike than we are different. And I don't think there is any more real example than this gaming community. In groups that I have seen an unbreakable bond with the people that know each other and unbelievably open arms to people who are new. One thing that is unique about the D&D community is that new players are immediately accepted into the large family that is Dungeons & Dragons. The people at the table help the new players understand what they're having trouble with and allow them to grow within the game without doing it for them. They see that people need the older sibling figure in this aspect of their lives, so they show them what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. They also let them figure it out so that they know how to do it in the future. A study was done by RPG Therapeutics, and they found that several human needs are being fulfilled during regular gameplay. The need to belong, the need for spontaneity, and the need to be moral, all within this role-playing model of gameplay. This gives us the plan to fulfill those needs and learn to deal with problems in a community who wants to create a partnership and an environment of acceptance. A family is supposed to help you grow, protect you, have your best interest at heart, be there for you, and love you. All of these is what the D&D community does for every single one of its members. No matter who they are, it encompasses the family feel at its best. With that in mind, it is easy to see how the hashtag D&DFam or D&D family has been growing such usage at an increasingly fast rate. We are creating an accepting community. You don't have to have a specific trait to play D&D. Once you sit at the table, it creates an opening to a whole new family tree. We all know we have that one crazy aunt in our family, but she is accepted at the table too. What is at that table is all different types of people sharing different views, allowing us to be players who are reaching a common goal and bonding over a greater purpose. Teamwork is required to reach that greater goal, as no one at the table will have the same advantages and disadvantages as other people. Learning to plan out how an adventuring party will get over an obstacle will require talking with those around you, knowledge of the game, and the ability to compromise. This even allows the players at the table to consider afterwards how the encounters worked out or not. D&D is also very different from a lot of games in that it allows the family aspect in a specific way that no one is winning or losing except for as a group. And it is important to be a respective loser and a humble winner, but you must do so as a group as well. It requires the players to work together, learn each other's strengths and weaknesses in order to cater to that and make sure that things work out the best. There are also many opportunities for critical thinking. The D20 style game offers a broader range of choices than you would find in a digital role-play games on account of limitless imaginations that everyone at the table has. The critical thinking and imagination will increase a person's ability for reasoning and open-mindedness, which they will not get with other forms of games. Most times, the hashtag D&D family comes with some lesson that the player learned at the table, or how they felt most accepted at that table. They can share it without fear of judgment or persecution. If you were to go on to social media and search that hashtag, you would find people who seemingly have nothing in common, but they all are talking to each other casually and friendly. According to a Victoria University of Wellington, people need some sort of family aspect in their lives. However, many people, unfortunately for one reason or another, do not have a great family life. Oftentimes, this can cause many health issues, such as depression and suicidal thoughts and actions. D&D provides that family aspect for everyone who gets into the hobby. You're a part of the community from the start, especially on social media platforms. Oftentimes, social media can be perceived as a bad thing from a mental health stance. A lot of times, I would agree with this statement, but not here. When people are using social media for D&D, they are constantly encouraging each other, complimenting each other, and teaching each other, just like a family should. What you would see if you were to search that hashtag is people who play D&D coming from across the world, connecting with people ranging from those they met at a con 20 hours away to people who they play with weekly. Oftentimes, the people who you meet at conventions are like those relatives that you see on the holidays, but that you still enjoy their company every time. However, social media allows for people to stay connected with all of their D&D family consistently and reach out for help, advice, an ear to listen, or just a good time without having to travel to see them. Because I have been able to travel so much and have seen so many groups of people on the social media platforms, I have heard many stories about how Jasper's Game Day and D&D has affected people. One of these such stories came to me from a friend I personally have gamed with. She had been struggling with her self-image for a long time, along with depression, suicidal thoughts, and often actions before she decided to jump out of a moving car to end her life. After an attempt, luckily she survived that attempt, but she used D&D as an outlet. One of the most memorable things she has told me is that their understanding and caring helped me relax at the games like I couldn't around other people, because I knew we didn't have to talk about it. They were there if I needed to. And that allowed me to dive into the games and really escape into the character. And for that few hours a week, I wasn't anxious, depressed, or suicidal. I was a clever, strong hero laying smack down on some stinking goblins. Many psychologists are starting to recommend D&D to people suffering with mental illnesses and depression because they need a creative outlet. People lose their creativity with depression, and D&D makes it come back. A report from Harvard that shows that having a creative outlet is necessary to stop burnout, which can cause serious mental issues and other problems, including chronic stress and pain. It can even affect work and family situations. They also said that a creative outlet is very beneficial in helping people with mental health issues and depressions with their problems, because that it shows them a different way to look at things. And it brings back the thing that de-stresses them and gives them something that shows that they're not alone. I completely identify with that because I almost always feel stress in one way or another in my daily life. But when I go to the gaming table, I'm not Fenway, I'm Fenway the team DM, and I can be there and I can be that outgoing personality, and for those few hours I am running a game or playing, it feels like nothing from the outside world can get to me. Wizards of the Coast did a study around the US that showed a huge increase in the players of D&D in the past few years. This increase came largely from people 30 years and younger, and what are considered minority groups. One of the largest minority groups that joined D&D recently is the LGBTQ community, including people who are not even quote-unquote out yet. They have the opportunity to play whatever character they want. A male player could play a female character and explore how that feels for them and vice versa, and not have to think twice about it. It's not abnormal and is certainly accepted, which is why many people can explore who they are and who they think they might want to be without being judged in any way. A lot of people in the minority communities often have those suicidal thoughts, behaviors, and actions because they do not have a place where they can express themselves without fear of rejection. Humans crave acceptance, and the D&D community can provide that. Another thing that is part of the human needs is connection. The new thing right now is online gaming and friendships through that. Online gaming creates a barrier between the players and allows them to get much more aggressive than they could if they were at the same table. If you were online gaming, you could get mad at something someone else did and post on it on social media, and your 10,000 of your closest friends would back you up. After it was said and done, the person posting would most likely have no idea the effect on the other person at the other end of this post, and what they were feeling, what they were doing that day, or anything of that nature. What makes D&D different than that is that we can never forget about the human beings behind the characters. We sit at the same table and experience all of the same emotions that everyone is feeling, and if there's a choice that screws something up, we are just forced to deal with it at the table and deal with it there. So if we make a petty choice to backstab the person who angered us, then we must see the consequences of that in the game and even in the emotional changes at the table. D&D taps into the human need for connection with other people and can bring it out in people who are dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts and previously did not want to have that connection. According to the AAS website, one of the leading signs and reasons for suicide is the feeling of alone and that they cannot do anything. D&D can bring these people in, show them that they are not alone, and the things that they're struggling with there are a lot of other people that are struggling with them as well, and that there are other ways to do things and activities that they can enjoy and be good at. Through this tapping into need for human connection, D&D draws and keeps a lot of people's interest. Jasper's Game Day and I aim to build this and help it thrive. Jasper's Game Day is an extension of that help and the gaming community wants to provide. According to RPG Therapeutics again, many gamers deal with one mental health issue or another. However, there's a lot of stigma around talking about it. But with the recent emerging of Jasper's Game Day, the community has started talking about it, but with the thing that I think is most helpful is that we are starting to talk about it in the gamer language. Many of the gamers in this community talk to each other in a specific way, and Jasper's allows for those gamers to help each other with that language, and we show them how they can do so. And this is especially helpful for the fight for bettering the mental health of the world, because exclusion is a huge enemy of that fight, and we want to include every type of language into our fight for that. Jasper's allows the community to help each other in many ways that they thought they have before. For instance, they have started sharing their stories on social media, and often with the hashtag of Jasper's Game Day or Jasper's Game, so that we may see it and see how Jasper's is affecting them and or how suicide has affected them. Jasper's has allowed people to know it is okay to talk about what they've been going through or what they have gone through. And I try my hardest to make it clear on the website and whenever I'm talking with someone that we focus on getting rid of that stigma in talking about suicidal thoughts and actions. Jasper's also helps support each other in the way of donating money. There are many different forms of donations that we accept, and we make it clear where the money goes to when people are making those donations. For example, when we run our week-long streaming event, the second week or the third week of May. We have been advertising that the funds raised from that will be going to the AAS Youth Board and helping them better their reach. And each store that participates in our main game day is required to show which crisis center that their money is going to and make sure that everyone that participates in their game day knows that. When people donate, they also get the satisfaction of knowing how their money was used, because we often post about what is happening with the money and what is being done with it. And so that we know that people in the areas can go and look at what the money in their area is being done with, and how the community and the world is being affected. I may not have all of the background and practice in medical, psychological, or law fields like many of you, but I do see the effects and experience an epidemic that is happening around the world, suicide. I have seen what is happening with it, and I know the few things need to be done. I will forever continue to use whatever influence I have and I can get to continue talking about it and raising awareness however I can. Everyone needs to know that there are people out there who care about them and what happens to them and their loved ones, and no one deserves to be swept under the rug. The D20 systems, and especially Dungeons & Dragons, have a special connection within their communities that allows for so many more people to be reached through it, and even more through them. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening to me. If you have any questions, I'll be hanging around up here for a little while, so feel free coming up, say hi, or just whatever you want to do. But we do have an offer for all of you. So if you guys would like, we are offering to give each and every one of you a t-shirt, a Jasper's Game Day t-shirt. So if you would like to come and get one, I will be handing those out to whoever wants one as well.
I think you should.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
I don't necessarily have a question, but I appreciate what you're doing. I can tell you from the military side of the house that one of the things, the key to the suicide prevention is that sense of belonging. And when you talk about that, it really connects how they do get that sense of belonging. So I think you're hitting the key points of the suicide prevention. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
You mentioned when you first got started, you partnered with BARD and working with Crisis Center. I think it sounds like really kind of changed the trajectory of the project. What was that like for you? How did that go?
So, actually, BARD was one of the people that helped Jasper's family right after he died by suicide, and it was very important to me because I wanted to partner with her because she had that connection with his family as well. And that was actually where the whole idea for local crisis centers came from, is because I figured that anyone who has an experience with that may be connected to a local crisis center, and having all of the money go to that crisis center would give them the idea that they were being helped as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
First, thank you. I'm super excited to hear you speak, and thank you for your leadership. So do you feel like this movement is changing how people interact within the world of D&D? I mean, how do you move from playing the game to talking about, I am super struggling with my life? And just want to understand that a little more.
No, for sure. So we often try and include the talking in the game, and we make sure that it is known that you don't have to talk about what you're going through, and you can just be your character, or you can just be whoever you want. But if you need to talk about it, then everyone at that table and everyone in the community is there for you and is there to help you out if you need it. So we never want to force anyone to talk about it, but we give that opportunity to let them talk about it if they need to.
So first of all, don't like discount yourself because like you don't have a degree or whatever. Like, I don't have a degree. I'm not up on the stage speaking to all these people. Like, it really is kind of overrated. But you didn't don't go around the conference talking to like all the like PsyDs and like everyone who's gone to school for like 20 years and say that, but really like clearly you don't need a degree to be successful in what you're doing because you have experience and you have like good public speaking skills and you seem very confident to me, and it's so inspiring as like also a young woman to see you actually be able to like make waves because like why can't we all do that? So I just want to commend you.
Thank you
Like,
so
don't
much.
get down on yourself for not being in college. Like,
I mean, I was just, in that, I don't think that it's anything on me. I was just
yeah.
putting it out there that I use the power of the polyhedral dice, which is the set of dice that we use in D&D. So I was using my personal experiences to show what needs to be done is what I was trying to
And
get
that's
at.
just as valuable as a degree.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have a great name.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, 'cause I work at a teen crisis line, and we deal a lot with people thinking teens can't do this work or taking teens seriously. And so, did you run into any of that, or what?
I mean, I did a lot at the beginning, and I still do sometimes. I get a lot of people going to my dad, asking questions about everything. And I mean, like, you do that sometimes, but you also understand that I'm there too. But a lot of people at the beginning came to my father thinking he was the one that was running it all and that he did everything. And while he did do a lot of it, I will not say that he didn't, but it was hard for me not to be the one that they came to for questions. But I definitely have made sure that a lot of people are aware that I am here and I am the head of Jasper's. So that has gotten a lot better in the year that it has been around. Yes.
So, great presentation. I really enjoyed it. I came a little late, so I'm sorry if I missed this. But do you guys incorporate any trainings or anything like that with the dungeon masters or with any of the people like in games or to help them recognize the signs, or is it just kind of more being positive and accepting? Either way, I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, it is a lot about being positive and accepting and making sure that everyone at the table knows that they have a place there. But we do trainings with a lot of the dungeon masters, and then a lot of the crisis centers that we partner with go into schools and teach the staff how to recognize those signs and behaviors and how to deal with them so that we can be more proactive rather than reactive. So that is another important thing for us to do.
Is there any specific curriculum you use, or are you just kind of based on your experience?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Do you use any specific curriculum, or is it based on your experience?
It's a lot of it is based on in my experiences, but we do use
Safe talk and it's
yeah, safe talk.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a lot
Okay.
of questions.
That's all right.
So have you noticed any, like after having 2 people die by suicide in a short amount of time, have you noticed any changes like in your school? And like in the environment in your school, or any teachers doing anything differently?
So actually neither of them were from my school.
Oh, okay.
But I can say that in my youth group, every year around the same time that my good friend from youth group died by suicide, they do the lesson, instead of it being on what it usually is, it's on how we don't want that to happen again in our youth group, and how they are working to try and prevent it, and how they want to know that want everyone to know that they are accepted there as well. So I have noticed a change in my youth group, but no, it hasn't really happened in my school yet, and hopefully never will. So. Good. Anybody else? Yeah, for sure.
So if I'm thinking about, I'm from Oregon, and so I'm thinking about my town in Eugene, like how would I go talk to, say, my like local game shop? I'm not actually a gamer myself, but I'm just hearing this and I'm thinking about so many people I know who do this, and it just sounds great. So what would
Yeah.
sort of be the approach
So,
to that?
I mean, the first step would just be going in and talking to one of the workers at the store. And we have on jaspersgameday.com, which is our website, we have, a button that says stores. And stores can go on there and sign up to be part of Jasper's. And then individual people can go on and sign up for information from us, so that they can learn about what is going on with Jasper's as well. So I think that when you go into your store, you just present what is going on and what probably what you heard, and that would probably be the best way to reach them, and then show them where they can sign up if they want, if they're interested.
Does D&D tend to be people within the same age group, or are there a lot of times people across ages, or kind of what?
It is all ages. Like, my brother, who is 6, is actually getting into it right now. And we have like a little kid D&D that where it's more puzzles and interactive events like that. And then we also have people ranging from like in the 80s and 90s who still play. So we have all age groups in our community. Yeah.
Where do you see Jasper's Game Day in, say, 5 years? Have you thought that far? Like, what's like your goal?
So, my dad often tells me that I have the future, or for the present state of mind, and he has the future. So that's one way that we work well together. But I see Jasper's in 5 years in as many stores as I can get it, and hopefully even globally. I'm working on getting a global reach for it. So I'm hoping for it to be there, and I'm just seeing it helping as many people as I can, and getting as many people involved in it as possible, because the more people that are involved is the more people that can be helped.
Hi, I'm sorry, I arrived quite late.
It's all right, it's not a big deal.
If I am asking something that you're ready to discuss, just tell me, we'll talk later. I'm fine. You mentioned youth group.
Yes.
We're talking about your church congregation youth
Yes.
group. Okay, so I was wondering, what was their reaction to Jasper's Game Day? Did they get involved? Did they support it? Because I've been a youth group leader myself. I've been involved with faith-based communities a lot, and sometimes video games is like, ooh. And Dungeons and Dragons, ooh. So, I'm just wondering, what was their reaction to all this?
So I think at first they were a little apprehensive towards it, because like you said, they're not fully into the Dungeons and Dragons and into the video games of everything, but all of my youth leaders have been super supportive and super helpful, and they've been posting about Jasper's Game Day, and they've been involved in it as much as they can be. So they've been very supportive of me, which I've been very lucky for that. Yeah.
So I think I'd like to brag on you and can you let everyone know what's happening on May 11th for how global it's gone?
Yeah, so May 11th is my main game day, and we actually have 7 or 8 stores across the U.S. that are going to be involved in this large game day. And we have 3 adventures, which are the things that Dungeons and Dragons run. We have 3 adventures that were written, 1 by me and then 2 by some family friends of mine. And those are going out to all of the stores, and some of the stores aren't even running D&D, but they're running board games or Pathfinder or other games of that nature. And that is another way that we are trying to be inclusive, is we don't want to just stick to one kind of game. I only have experience in D&D, but I have been getting people who have experience in other games to try and teach me how to get other people into it. So those 7 or 8 stores are going in, and each is being partnered with a crisis center. And then the week after, so Jasper's Stream Week, we have 40 hours of gameplay going on in a series of 5 days, so 8 hours a day. And we have about 6 or 7 people involved in each game, and there's 3 games a day, and it's all different people. So we have a lot of people involved in that, and we have a raffle going on that you can buy tickets to be able to play in those games. So that's another way we are raising money for that. And so that's what we're doing, and it's pretty great. Yeah.
Will that be on Twitch?
Yes.
What's your?
So it's Mini Terrain Domain.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our channel.
Yeah.
And it's one of my partners that I work with, and he and I actually just partnered and made a coffee, a Jasper's Game Day coffee, through Initiative Coffee. So if you want to go and check that out, I am not a coffee person, but I love the smell, so it smells fantastic.
And $5 goes back to AAS. And $5
Oh,
goes
yes,
back.
and $5 goes back to, from every bag that is bought goes back to us. So it's a money raiser as well. So. Oh, and this is the one that's been recording up here for a while is Satine. She is my mentor. I mentioned her at the beginning, but she is one of the most amazing people that I know, and she has been the most supportive, or one of the most supportive people of me this entire road, and I could not have done this without her. So, thank you. Yeah, and if you want to come get a Jasper shirt, come on up here, and we will definitely get you one. We would love to, and I'd love to meet all of you as well. So.